सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति. May all beings be happy. May all be free of illness and therefore be healthy. May all tune into and experience that which is auspicious, and may no one suffer in any way. May the whole world be in joy and peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This ancient mantra from the Upanishads seems like a perfect beginning for the event we have at hand this evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Konark Publishers Private Limited, I take great pleasure in welcoming you all on the occasion of the release of the book, India Beyond the Pandemic, a sustainable path towards global quality healthcare, authored by Dr. Joseph M. Chalil, Ambassador Pradeep K. Kapur, and Professor M.D. Nalapat. We also have some special guests, and I'd like to start off by welcoming Shri Amitabh Kant, a warm welcome to Lieutenant General Dr. U.K. Sharma. Special welcome to our event sponsor, Shri Supreet Singh, founder and CEO of PsychoCare, and of course our very eminent authors, Dr. Joseph M. Chalil, Ambassador Pradeep K. Kapur, and Professor M.D. Nalapat. Once again, a very warm welcome to you all. May I now request Shri K.P.R. Nair, the Managing Director of Konark Publishers, to deliver the formal welcome address. Mr. Nair.
Good evening, everybody. I wish to extend a warm welcome to all the guests present here and those attending online, and special welcome to all the media persons. Konark is very happy to present another important title, and this time concerning an issue that shook the world, COVID-19, and how we emerged from it and the future steps needed to protest against future such pandemics. The book, India Beyond the Pandemic, A Sustainable Health Towards Global Quality Healthcare. This book owes its genesis to a chance dialogue between Professor Monu Nalapat and Dr. Joseph M. Chalil on the idea of writing a book on the pandemic and the lessons learned from it for India and the world. I'm glad that we went forward with the idea, as now it has become a global event with the UNN News as our esteemed co-publisher for the North American markets. Konark's partnership with the UNN News is certainly going to open the doors for many such joint editions soon. This book launch also makes a new phase for us in Konark, entering into a joint venture with the UNN News USA to promote some of its most special titles across the world. I would also like to say a few words about our event sponsor, PCHPL, PsychoCare Health Limited, and its director and founder, Supreet Singh here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
I now call upon Professor M.D. Nalapat to introduce the book to us. He's one of the authors, as we know.
Thank you very much, and I'm very honored to be in this distinguished company, both who are here in person and who are here virtually. I'd like to say that I think a very good way of finding out about the book would be to read the book. So please allow me to give you to say a few words about why this book was written. It was basically written because COVID has been a pandemic unlike any other. It's a pandemic that changed the world. It affected attitudes, it affected mindset, it affected geography, geopolitics. I think from the point of view of humankind, there's been a huge, absolutely huge impact regarding the onset of the pandemic and the very steps that were taken to battle the pandemic, the pace at which vaccines were made, and almost very quickly a consensus getting evolved about what needed to be done to confront this pandemic. And may I say that in all this, a country that Dr. Chalil and Ambassador Kapur, my co-authors, love very much, India, I think we did quite a fair amount during that pandemic, both in terms of production of vaccines, both in terms of originating of vaccines, and frankly in ensuring that 2021 there was no lockdown. There was a lockdown when the pandemic first struck, but subsequently many other countries also went into lockdowns, but work went on, and ultimately a kind of a herd immunity was realized, and the experience has been very valuable. But the point of the matter is that India can be front and center in being a provider of healthcare to the world. And once again, may I repeat, I'm very, very glad to be here, and I hope you'll be glad when you read the book, and I certainly hope that we will move towards a period in which India serves not just as a model, but as an actual hub, if I may say so, of geographical spokes of different countries, so that we can make quality, sustainable healthcare affordable to as many people on the planet as we can, which in my view should mean the entire planet. God bless you. Thank you.
With that, we come to the release of the book, India Beyond the Pandemic, A Sustainable Path Towards Global Quality Healthcare. May I now request Shri Amitabh Kant to release the book and present the first copy to Dr. Joseph Chalil. Very special message coming up from the Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, Shri Randeep Singh Puri.
I congratulate Ambassador Pradeep Kapur, Professor Madhav Das Nalapat, and Dr. Joseph Chalil on their book, India Beyond the Pandemic. I have known Professor Nalapat and Ambassador Kapur for a very long time. They are among the more insightful Indian thinkers on geopolitics today. Dr. Chalil is a renowned medical professional with expertise that cuts across multiple domains. The COVID-19 pandemic was a defining moment of the 21st century. It altered the way humanity dealt with crises and reshaped fundamental bonds of society. In that difficult time for the world, India emerged as a rising power. Its assured handling of the pandemic established its credentials as a trustworthy and responsible global power. This book can be a useful guide for those who seek to understand how the pandemic has transformed the world and the road ahead for India and the global community. Once again, I congratulate the authors on this wonderful book and look forward to its ideas being disseminated widely. Thank you.
I now call upon our guest of honor, Shri Amitabh Kant. As India's G20 Sherpa, Shri Amitabh Kant is a governance reformer and public policy change agent for India. As a member of the Group of 20 G20 Forum, he has driven key reforms and initiatives during his tenure as the Chief Executive Officer of the Niti Aayog and Secretary of the Departmental for Industrial Policy and Promotion. He also has been a key driver of transformational national initiatives such as Startup India, Make in India, Incredible India, Kerala God's Own Country, and the Aspirational Districts Program, which have repositioned India and Kerala on the global stage. As the CEO of Niti Aayog, he has driven a vast range of national level developmental and policy initiatives which catalyze India's social and economic development.
The distinguished authors, Dr. Joseph Chalil, Professor Nalapat and Mr. Pradeep Kapur, the publisher, Mr. Nair, General UK Sharma, Mr. Supreet Singh, many distinguished people in the audience, Mrs. Lakshmi Puri, who's a very distinguished diplomat and a very distinguished writer, Professor Ruby Pawankar, our National Maritime Coordinator, Admiral Ashok Kumar, Mr. Alphonse, a former minister, many ambassadors who are here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This pandemic was a once in a lifetime pandemic, and normally when pandemics of this nature happen, I think the world is confronted with several challenges. Challenges of healthcare, challenges of slowdown of growth, challenges of huge implications on the population, and I think more than anything else, the challenges of handling the pandemic itself. And let me say first of all that this pandemic in a vast and large country of this nature, which is bigger than 25 countries of Europe put together, has been handled in a very, very unique manner. First of all, the fact that we were able to vaccinate 2.2 billion people, do 2.2 billion vaccinations for our population, which was totally digital, which was paperless, cashless, and was totally digital, has not happened anywhere else in the world. This book takes a very multi-dimensional perspective of how India managed the pandemic, bringing together medical, technological, economic, and social dimension. It also takes a very forward-looking view on how primary healthcare primary healthcare systems can be reinvented, or how global organizations such as WHO can be retooled to better manage future crises. And it actually looks at a perspective of how the world can handle a future pandemic in a better manner. And therefore, this book actually serves as a great guide to our goal to build a more resilient society, one that is prepared for a future crisis. The lessons learned in India can actually be applied across the world, especially the developing world in particular. But more than that, to my mind, it has huge learning lessons for the developed world in terms of the leadership and how Prime Minister Modi handled this crisis in a multi-dimensional way. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate my friends, Dr. Joseph Chalil, who's the Chief Medical Officer of Novo Integrated Sciences. I would like to congratulate Professor Nalapat, whom I've known from my earlier days and as a Kerala cadre officer, and who remains a great intellectual, constantly debating on several issues of geopolitics. And I would like to compliment a great friend of mine, Ambassador Pradeep Kapur, on whose request I've written the foreword of this book, but a remarkable piece on this has been written by Mr. Randeep Puri. I read his piece, and it's a remarkable piece. So I think it's a great book. It has great learning lessons, and I think it's a must-buy book for all those who are interested in learning about how India managed this crisis. It's a book to be bought for learning on how crisis can be managed. It's a great book on how future pandemics can also be handled. So I take this opportunity to congratulate the authors, and I take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Nair for being such a forward-looking, progressive, and a dynamic publisher. Thank you. And to have such a distinguished list of authors to your publishing house.
Thank you. It's a teamwork, sir. It's a teamwork.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next speaker today is Professor Ruby Pawankar. She's the Executive Director and immediate past President, Asia Pacific Association of allergy, asthma, and clinical immunology. She has served as a president of multiple World Allergy Organization and has been a professor, Department of Pediatrics at the Nippon Medical School in Tokyo, and at many other honorary places in Japan, China, and Taiwan. I will not go into greater details, but will now invite her to connect with us virtually. Over to you, ma'am. Professor Ruby Pawankar.
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm sorry that I could not be there in person, but I'm very happy to join you virtually. My greatest regards to Amitabh Kantji, the G20 Sherpa, and all our authors, Dr. Joe Chalil, Ambassador Kapur, who's together with me virtually, and Professor M.D. Nalapat, my colleague, Dr. Sharma, and distinguished members of the audience. My heartiest congratulations go to Dr. Joe Chalil, Ambassador Kapur, and Professor Nalapat for this excellent book on India Beyond the Pandemic, which stands as a valuable text in understanding the intricate dynamics of global health through the lens of India's robust response to COVID-19 crisis. I am pleased to have been able to write a testimonial for this, and I'm really believe that this book would delves into India's commendable vaccination drive and humanitarian vaccine diplomacy, highlighting the nation's vital role on the world's stage during the unprecedented times. As we all know that healthcare workers form the front line of public health and the core of any public health issue, be it chronic diseases, be it infectious diseases, be it climate-associated public health challenges, or dealing with a pandemic. The book is a narrative of the resilience shown by healthcare workers and the technological innovation during a health crisis. It serves as a fantastic guidepost for developing resilient systems equipped for both acute and chronic health challenges and addresses the need for systemic health reforms while recognizing India's potential ascendancy in global healthcare leadership, which you very elegantly heard from Amitabh Kantji. COVID-19 was the biggest hit on GDP. And how many of us think of health? When we think of health, we also need to think of mental health. And that is so important. And that embeds what we call as planetary health. We need to save the planet, and to save the planet and to save human health, we need to save the planet. And I say it again. So congratulations again to our wonderful authors. And I'm looking forward to the deliberations in the panel discussions.
Our next speaker today is Lieutenant General Dr. Umesh Kumar Sharma. He's a retired medical army officer and recipient of the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, specializing in nephrology with a focus on preventing chronic kidney disease. Sir, you'll have to let me do my job. Everyone is in a hurry, but I have to do my job and follow protocols. Throughout his distinguished service spanning over 38 years, he has served in various capacities, including as the President's Honorary Surgeon and Commandant and the Director of the prestigious Army Hospital, Referral and Research in New Delhi. He has contributed to over 1,000 renal transplants. There's more, but I shall stop here. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you. This book, when it came to me for a review, I finished reading it in one single go. It took me a little less than 24 hours, and I actually read it from cover to cover. I was curious. I heard that the book is about beyond the pandemic, means the pandemic has happened and now what are we going to look forward to? And it's been written by 3 different authors, each a stalwart in his field, one a medical professional, one a statesman and a diplomat, and the third a deep thinker and a professor. I wondered how the book has been put together, whether they have written individual essays and strung them together. To my utter surprise, I found that it's a seamless writing by the 3 of them. You can make out who would have contributed what, but it is not disparate essays. It's one beautifully flowing text, and it was eminently enjoyable going through that. what needs to be done in future, what can be achieved, and how India can lead the globe in its quest for sustainable, good quality healthcare. And those lessons are the ones that a serious student of public health should imbibe from this book. It's a must read for those people as well as policy planners and even government departments. I in fact implore our planners to study the armed forces model and try and apply that to the rest of the country. In conclusion, actually, our master compere has already chanted that Sanskrit shloka, Armed Forces Medical Services have a motto, again in Sanskrit, beyond Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and that is Sarve Santu Niramaya. May all be free of disease. That is what the armed forces strive to do through preventive care more than therapeutic care, through treatment. And if the world did not divide itself with artificial boundaries, if we really cooperated, the globe, the earth can actually attain the goal of Sarve Santu Niramaya, where all will be disease free someday. Thank you.
With that, our next introduction is going to be the moderator for our panel today, Mr. Supreet Singh. He's the director of Psychocare Health Private Limited. He's a celebrated and award-winning entrepreneur with a bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering and diploma in broadcasting and performing arts from Columbia Academy, Vancouver. So he's obviously multifaceted, and Psychocare Health Private Limited is a testimony to his vision and his leadership, and has been in existence since 2013. And he's, like Mr. Nair said, doing multiple other things. But really over to you, sir, to moderate this session with our speakers and panelists.
Warm good evening to everyone. And it's an honor being here and moderating such eminent personalities and being among such great personalities over here. The aura is amazing over here. The way India has grown and the way India is going to grow in the global healthcare platform is going to be humongous, and I think we all are here and celebrating this book. It's a testimony to that. What I personally feel over the years, what has happened is we have been very casual about health. So what I've realized over the years that we have never been very concerned about our health, preventive health. So it's always been kuch hone ke baad hi hum kuch karte hain. So it's been always like that. Since COVID has happened, now we are getting concerned about health, preventive health. I want your take. Have we really learned from the COVID, or still we are living in the dark?
I do believe all of us were struck by the impact of COVID. And I think you're quite right, Supreet. You put your finger on the most important thing, which is essentially that India has 1.4 billion healthcare providers. If you talk, for example, of a family, you talk, for example, of a sister or a mother or a daughter, and the way she looks after her family, the way she ensures nutrition, the way she ensures a better life. I think that is a very big step towards what was very correctly being said by the distinguished doctor here. And we have some common friends. I'm not going to talk about that now, but some other people who respect you and like you very much. But all I can say is, Supreet, it's very important to make healthcare part of the socialization, part of the way parents educate their children, children educate their friends. It's very important to understand that healthcare is not just, it's for all of us. And we're all, in a sense, part of the healthcare system. And I think that is what COVID taught us. We're all healthcare providers, and I think that's also the lesson which our distinguished doctor colleague told us about this question of investigation coming to the picture. And I must confess that all of us have been guilty about getting a battery of tests done and then going to a specialized person. I must say, the next time I do that, I'll know I'm doing something wrong. Thank you.
I would like to know about your opinion, Dr. Ruby. What I've realized, like over the years, I just want to add one point. What Sir has mentioned. There's a term called as holistic health, which has recently come up like really fast. But people are, what I personally feel is people are not able to understand what holistic health is. If you can put some light on that and your opinion on preventive health as well. Thank you.
What I try to say is that holistic health is a component of the human, animal, and environment. It's all put together. We live in one harmony, and it's very important that the human health can never exist in isolation. And the COVID-19 or zoonotic diseases like that are a huge example of why they happen, because we are causing a dysbiosis, a disharmony in our very existence with the environment. And that's why the planetary health is very important for human health when we talk about preventive medicine or preventative strategies. So preventative strategies is not only about making the people aware of the diseases or going just to a private, a general practitioner, but it's way before that. Things start in the mother's womb. So the maternal nutrition, environment the mother is exposed to, the children early years of life, the food they eat, the environment, the soil, water, air pollution, everything together, composite, makes a big difference. The healthcare providers, its power of technology, its power of digitalizing, its power of telemedicine, of AI, all put together, India can lead. As is mentioned in the book, India can lead. And that's what I think we should do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby. And I have a small question, Ambassador, that I personally feel that food should be a part of healthcare.
What I would like to say about food is that, food is definitely a very important part of the framework and construct of every individual being. Now, we have been told by our ancestors, by our parents, by the gurus, that sattvic living, sattvic food for a sattvic life. There are different types of food: sattvic food, rajasic food, and mansic food. And I do not want to get into the details of that because I do not want to offend my friends who go beyond the vegetarian, diet. But sattvic food basically consists of the plant-based diet. The pandemic has impacted our lives in very profound ways. I was impacted very personally because some of our closest friends, were sacrificed to the pandemic. Therapeutic care is also required. But what is much more required is basic well-being and wellness. And how do we focus on that? Through meditation, through yoga, through diet, through exercise. So diet becomes a very important part of daily living. Not getting into the transactional and commercial approach, like Professor Nalapat also mentioned, that one of the delivery systems which is very wanting is the system in America in terms of the costs and benefits associated with it. And how do we now leverage the advances in technology in Industry 5.0, Industry 4.0, and make it more human-centric and for the benefit of everybody by using AR, VR, MR, the different sorts of realities, machine learning, data analytics, cloud, quantum computing. How do we leverage those advances in technology to make healthcare, well-being, wellness, and thereafter treatment accessible to all at a very low cost, which is affordable for all? Thank you. Back to you, Supreet.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insights. General Sharma, sir, I'm so much intrigued by the workings of the defense forces. I've cleared SSB once. I couldn't join for some reasons, but I'm so passionate about the defense forces and how they operate. So as you mentioned that you have primary, secondary, tertiary, and then the stepwise, and there's a medical inspection room, which is actually not a reality in the normal lives or in the normal world outside of the defense forces. The idea is great if it can be inculcated in the mainstream, but what's the any roadmap you can share? Like what's in your mind, how it can be done?
No, what it probably requires is a tremendous amount of discipline. Now, an armed forces officer, once he joins, the young medical officer, he is posted to the periphery, the Bondukes, where there are times when he doesn't even have people to socially interact with. He may be all by himself, some border areas. Try and post an MBBS doctor from a civil medical college to his own state's rural health service. He pays out, he bribes, he does all kinds of things. He pays the bond money but does not go to that primary health center.
Very true.
It's a bit of a shock. So it requires an attitudinal sea change actually in India, but it can be done. The pandemic showed us, because when it became an emergency, everybody pitched in. Everybody pitched in. Doesn't happen during normal course of events. So we need to attitudinally change ourselves. That's what I mean. And it's a big ask. It'll take probably decades, not years, decades. But it can be done, you just need the resolve. You just need to find ways. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
You wanted to say something, ma'am? Yes, please.
No, I was just saying that, telemedicine is now being done, in many places in India, of course, as Mr. Kant mentioned, but I said telemedicine as well. AI is very important. I think AI now is being adopted in many places, even for radiological diagnosis, but of course we need to have multiple layers for it. We need to have policies to ensure the security of it, the correctness of it. All those things need to be put in place. But I think AI and digitalization, which is also put as part of the G20 recommendations of India. So I think if we move forward in that direction and getting it to right to the grassroots level in the villages, I think that is very important.
Chalil, we have discussed about preventive health many times and how India is leading in terms of healthcare, in terms of multiple things, even pharmaceuticals in multiple facets. How do you see India as the epicenter for healthcare in the next 10 years from a global perspective?
First of all, thank you so much for everyone for coming in and making this a very good success. It's a loaded question what you mentioned. So, there's two aspects of it. Number one is what we see India as in the future, in the next 2 decades. A lot of crazy ideas. Some of them are mentioned in the book. There are some which are not mentioned in the book. Maybe I would rather mention which are not in the book. We call it healthcare. Everybody claim healthcare. Are we really caring about people's health? As a doctor, am I really worried about, is my patient working out or stop smoking or not drinking or eating right or exercising versus am I just fixing a disease? So I would rather call it a disease care system where you come in with a sickness, I fix you, I send you back, I cure your disease, and then you come back again with another disease, I charge you money more, or I put a stent in you, or I treat your diabetes, but we're not really caring about healthcare. So I think it's a good marketing that we call it healthcare. We're not really doing it, So it is not an India problem. The same thing happens in USA, where it's a much more larger, costly affair. We fix diseases, we send you back, you come back. They have made some rules that you can't come back in 30 days. So they'll make sure that you stay at home for 30 days. But then the 31st day, you come back with the same disease. We'll admit you back again, and we'll bill you for the same thing. In the differences, we'll bill the insurance company, and then we'll send you back. So this has become a catch where everybody's minting money. A patient is not better off. So coming back to the India's role, another challenge which we don't talk about in the book enough is that there is a global human resource shortage in healthcare coming up in the next decade. So America will be short of over 100,000 doctors. UK, Germany, France, Europe, Australia will be short of physicians, nurses, health middle providers. The challenge will not just be that their population is aging and their doctors are retiring. So there's two, I would say, well-planned events which is predictably happening very soon in the next 5-6 years or so. So this is going to happen in the next 5-6 years. And the challenge is, are we ready for it? Is the system in India ready for it? are our education systems ready for it? How do we combine our medical schools with our IITs, with our IIMs, making sure our doctors are not just medically taught, but they're technologically savvy, they know how to manage a system, they know how to speak languages. So we have to make them better doctors going forward. I would even say, like we always had dual education system in the country, like the state syllabus and the CBSE or ICSE. We might even need start, training international doctors in these countries, in our own medical schools. Maybe train them in MD programs like in the US or in Europe. So I'm a very bullish person on India leading the world in healthcare. There is no other option. There is no other country available. So we would be dependent, and the world will be dependent on India. So it's up to India to provide the services with technology, with AI, with our human resource capital, the smartest people in the world we have here. We need to use them. And I'm pretty sure, sitting in America, I can clearly see that our system is declining. I don't see the next decades belong to America. I would say the next decades belong to India.
That's very true, and the brain drives the entire body. So
Absolutely.
that's very right. Mr. I want your opinion in a way, like as a patient, if you would say, 10 years before or 10 years today, how have the things changed when you go to a hospital or when you go to a doctor? If you can share that perspective as well, because that is also required.
First of all, I am not saying. When I was 8, but at that time there was no medicine for tuberculosis. There was no medicine for typhoid. My mother died when I was 7 because of typhoid, and she could not get a medicine. We tried to get even from Mumbai, we couldn't get in Kerala. So there was no medicine, allopathy medicine, in those years, and my mother died at the age of 27. So the change, that is the change.
Actually, we need a holistic approach towards healthcare. This is what I feel. Everything goes side by side. One closing statement for India beyond pandemic. One closing statement.
One closing statement is the opening of realization that India can do it.
This is an inflection point in the transformational journey for the world to understand the relevance of India on the global stage in the Global Committee of Nations. And the time has come for India to be welcomed into the UN Security Council as a country, which is strategically very important for the world, which is very important for the world in terms of having the largest population and one of the youngest populations, as a country which is a driver of the global economy today, more than any other country in the world, as a country which is contributing in so many ways to digitization. And I am associated with some fintech work also, and I see the impact to realize that and open up the doors and their hearts and their minds to this reality. Thank you, Supreet, for asking that question.
Well, I would just try to say that, India is in a very, very, living abroad, I mean, just like Ambassador and Dr. Joe, I live in the other far east of this thing. And I would say that the influx of India and awareness of India was much more in the US for many years. But in Japan, we didn't really have that kind of interaction with India, but I think in Japan is now partnering mostly with India, and the collaboration with India and Japan is so strong. We are admired by the world, and so it's time for us to act. How we do it is like we have to just make everything sustainable, and we have just to make things as easy to access, whether it's through digitalization or through partnerships with global organizations. Thank you.
Or my concluding remarks is, we keep doing what we are doing and do not allow hubris to affect our performance. Nor should we start celebrating in advance that India is going to be at the high table. That brings in complacency, and complacency is not good. So I said, we do what we need to do, and the world will see the results.
No, I just wanted to say, thank you all for being here. But regarding the book, let this be, I think this panel discussion is a very good starting point. Let this be a discussion starter at this book. Let this start conversations. this shouldn't be a pathway to future, but this shouldn't be a pathway to a discussion to a future. I know we have smart minds here, a lot of IFS officers, a lot of IAS officers, a lot of civil service, army generals, AFMC graduates, whether it's Dr. Ruby or General Sharma, these are the smartest minds in the world. These guys can figure out, how can we do for the world. We just need to come together and to think wider, think broader, and for a healthier world, a healthier India first, and a healthier world in the future.
A huge thanks to everybody who's made this evening happen. As we come to an end of this evening's proceedings, on behalf of Konark Publishers, I would like to thank all the people who made this evening possible. Our heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Minister Shri Randeep for his special message. Our distinguished guests of honor, Shri Amitabh Kant, Dr. Ruby Pawankar, Lieutenant General UK Sharma, our eminent authors, Dr. Joseph Chalil, Ambassador Pradeep Kapur, and Professor M.D. Nalapat. Thank you so much for this, the start of this journey. This is just the beginning, like you said. We've got to take these debates and discussions into the broader audiences.
Also, a very special thanks to Shri K.P.R. Nair and Jiza Joy and Shan, and to Madam Lakshmi Puri also for gracing the occasion, KJ Alphonse, and all of our dear friends who, took the time out to be present there.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
To Supreet for moderating the session so efficiently. You're definitely one of those visionaries who's going to redefine a lot of things in the future, so continue being on this path, and good luck with that. To the Konark backend team for putting everything together so seamlessly, to our friends in the media for all their support, to the IIC team for their cooperation and constant hand-holding. Last but not the least, thank you to our distinguished audience and friends. You have always been such an integral part of the Konark journey. We are because you are. May we understand the inherent interconnectedness of all of life and how this circle connects all of us through this fabric of existence. And when we respect nature, both external and internal, we will realize how a sustainable health paradigm and a deeper understanding of the principles that govern all of existence is what is going to ensure a safe, happy, and healthy future. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.